Just check on this. Hello, everyone. I think we still have a few more minutes to go. Good evening, Aarti. Good evening, Shruti, Mr. Jose Matthew. Thank you. Vipra Agarwal, Praveen Arora, Anupama Uja, Preeti Sagar, Indian Awareness. Thank you. Sandeep Mishra, Anil Kumar, Chitra Sharma, Indu Singh. I welcome you here. Harsha Sharma ji, thank you. Rohit Sani ji, welcome. Wow, I'm so happy to see all of you. Rashmi Acharya, thank you. Avneeta Sethia, thank you ji. Sonia Ratan, Mukesh Bagri ji, Akash Abrol ji, Shruti Nanda, Seema Kumari, Sudha Singh, Alka Dhanta, Chandni Jain, Anuradha Sota, Narinder Singh, Mukesh Bagri, Deepti Topu, G2 Thomas, Mr. Hundal, Rutika. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, Sapna, for these words. They are really encouraging. Thank you. Ruchi Talwar, my lovely sister, thank you. Deepu Thakur, Mukesh Kumar, Cathedral Eco, yes, thank you. Rita Sharma, Animesh Chandra, wow, thank you so much. So, I think we are good to go. Sapna, give me a green signal if you feel it's already 6 o'clock in your watch. Give me a thumbs up, darling, please. Sanvi and Sayush, you look so sweet, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Vipra Agarwal, thank you. Suraj Singh, Rupi Babbar, thank you, Rupi. You're always so kind with your words. Manu Rawal, thank you for joining me, Manu. Thanks for squeezing out time from your webinars to join mine. Thank you, Manu, so much. Alka Kapur, Anil Bisht, thank you so much. So I think we are good to go. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. At the outset, I would thank Entab CampusCare for reaching out to me. I wish to congratulate Entab for an outstanding session with Mr. Sanjeev Shiv Kheda day before yesterday. One line in praise of Entab I would like to mention before I start, that they have an excellent office and amazing work culture. I still cannot forget the sumptuous meal you served me there. Thank you so much, everyone. Special thanks to Mr. Lawrence, Himanshu, Rajiv, Anupama, everyone. You've been so nice. I'm pleased to welcome all of you today to today's webinar session and thank each one of you for giving your valuable time to me. I would begin by introducing myself as Alka Kapur, Principal at Modern Public School, Shalimar, Bagh, Delhi. Dear friends, few housekeeping items to cover before I begin. Today's webinar will be available on the YouTube page of Entab CampusCare and Facebook page of Modern Public School, Shalimar Bagh, Delhi, also on my own personal Facebook page. You can put your questions in the chat box. I shall be happy to answer. Third and last, I would encourage you to share today's webinar with your social networks to enable me to reach out to more people. Topic for today's session is integration of education with skill development. It's a topic that interests me a lot, and having spent more than 3 decades, yes, I joined as a teacher in 1988. So, 3 decades in the field of education amidst children and adults. I actually resonate with this theme. I feel education is a passport for the future, for future belongs to those who prepare for it today. I would be segregating this topic in two parts: skills for life and skills for work. And how a school is imparting education plays a very prominent role. I believe in a world today, education doesn't ensure employment, but skills certainly do. I'll share an example with you. There was an exhibition and a stall was set up by a businessman. He appointed two boys. One of them was an MBA with a wonderful degree, good marks. The other was a college dropout. Now, he was observing everything, and the second day he realized that the MBA could not develop relations with the customers. He was not very good at selling the stuff, while the college dropout had better skills. He could develop better interpersonal relations. His mannerism was good, his communication was good, his body language was good. So after the exhibition got over, the MBA was given a bye bye, a tata, but the other college dropout was taken on rolls. This example clearly shows that soft skills, communication skills, are extremely important in life. No matter what your age is, what your profession is, there are always three dimensions to success. One is attitude, that is A. The other is skills, and the third is knowledge. And generally, it's called ask. Remember always ask, ASK, attitude, skills, and knowledge. Almost in the same order, always. I think I prioritize it accordingly: attitude, skills, and knowledge. You might have all noticed that knowledge it may not ensure a good future, but skills do. Most often in dealing with others and in the right attitude, when I say almost in that order, because reverse is never true. You have knowledge, but you don't have a good attitude. You have knowledge, but you don't have the right skills. I don't think it works. Using the golden words like please, thank you, sorry, my teachers who are listening out to me would know how I repeat and insist on it every single day. Using the golden words like please, thank you, sorry must become a way of life for teachers and for parents. Most particularly, the parents must understand and the teachers must understand that children pick up these soft skills from them. So they must watch their behavior accordingly. I always tell the teachers, what happens when you enter a classroom? Children are excited to greet you. They will say, good morning, ma'am. And the teacher says, good morning, sit down, open your books. Where is the please? Where is the thank you? Where is that soft skill that is required? No thank you, no please, no empathy, no understanding the problems of the students, just passing judgments, no conflict resolving techniques. It happens that sometimes there is a complaint from a parent and your attitude towards the child changes. That's not right. That's not a conflict resolving technique. At work, also, you feel sometimes your colleague has made a complaint against you. You just stop talking. Where is the conflict resolving technique? If you behave like this, if you don't resolve your conflicts, if you don't know that technique, soon you will have, I think the world will be on the other side because no one is perfect. So, all these things the children pick up from the teachers and from the parents. Poor body language is sometimes what the teachers demonstrate, the parents demonstrate, the anger on their face shows. There is no negotiation. No listening skill. A child will say, "Sorry, ma'am, I have not brought a book." You'll be angry. Suppose you tell your mother, "I don't want to go here, I don't want to do this." Mother will be angry. So, in a way, the adults are teaching the children that yes, this is a way of life. Things don't work things work against you, and anger is the solution. Thrashing is the solution. No, I don't think these are good skills to be taught. You should be an example that the children should be able to emulate. Else, you will turn out into horrible warnings. If teachers demonstrate the desired soft skills, isn't it then an effortless integration of skills with education? You don't have to teach certain things, you don't have to open the books to teach those lessons. I think looking at the behavior of the teacher and the parent, everything will be clear. Children will learn. Now, communication skills are equally important as soft skills and attitude. More than anyone else, Mahatma Gandhi recognized that skillful communication is the most effective tool to shape public opinion and mobilize it for popular support. His communication skills were so amazing that, in spite of being so thin, so lean, so frail, I mean, Mahatma Gandhi was this size, but he could have the entire world, the entire nation at his back. No pen needed, no sword needed, just effective communication skills, and he achieved what hundreds of freedom fighters after giving their lives could not. The Britishers were compelled to leave India. No violence, just non violence. What made it happen? Communication. I think I make my point clear. You standing on a road, you are in a party, you come across people. No one asks you, I mean, how many marks were there in your degree? People will just form an opinion of you by the way you communicate, by the way you behave. So these soft skills matter a lot. They can make or break your uh, mm, reputation or impression. Now, according to our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, the more importance we give to skill development, the more competent will be our youth. Problems will always be there. We cannot protect our children from problems in life, but we can prepare them for handling those problems. The fact is that you can cut a tree with a hammer, but it takes 30 days. If you trade the hammer with an axe, you can cut it down in about 30 minutes. The difference between 30 minutes and those 30 days is what we call skill. Now, fostering problem solving skills, teamwork, and critical thinking skills also provide an opportunity for students to be successful in new areas. If they have the required and appropriate attitude, etiquettes, self presentation, along with the desired knowledge, that certainly is an icing on the cake. Now, I will share an example with you here. We always have our champions, what we call this is my champion team, this is my champion group in an organization. I was in conversation with a principal once, and I was surprised to note that she says, "My champion is the peon of my school. I bank on his opinion, I bank on his advice." I was surprised. Opinion? I mean, the peon, you bank on his opinion? And then we discussed, and then we realized he is a peon, no doubt, but in his house, he is the jijaji. He is probably the father or the grandfather. People come to him for advice, and he gives extremely good advice. It's only that in schools or in organizations, we feel this person is a peon. But find out the skills of those employees, and you will feel that the principal relied on him because probably he was very ethical, he was very honest, he was very hardworking, he was very diligent, he demonstrated responsibilities whenever needed, and that is what made him a champion. And people like him then become indispensable to an organization. The answer is very clear. Is it knowledge, or is it those skills that he has acquired over the time? Of course, he must have gone wrong somewhere at times, but then, with the proper advice, with working on himself, he could come to this position that he became an asset for an organization. In regular day to day life, the development of life skills encourages the students to take responsibility for what they do. So instead of blaming others and shifting blames, they start owning it. And there comes truthfulness. There are many times when a child does something wrong, and the parent starts hitting the child or abusing the child. The child will understand speaking the truth is not taken kindly by my teachers and my parents. So taking the direction of speaking lies, or I mean, they learn how to lie. So who is to be blamed? Of course, the society, community is to be blamed, because it's through us, through our reactions, and through our gestures that children learn. Students develop a greater sense of self awareness and feeling of mindfulness and an appreciation for other people, and understand their responsibilities when they are handled and treated well. They can analyze various alternatives and make decisions and understand why they made a certain specific decision outside the classroom. Who is teaching them this? Of course, the response of the teachers, of others, of the adults has taught them this, how to be honest, how to be responsible, or how to be dishonest and be irresponsible. Children must be taught how to think and not what to think. So earlier, it used to be always T, T, T. Teacher taught that. Now it should be STT. Student thought that. Let the students think. Demonstrate good behavior, let them observe your good behavior, and let them make a decision whether they have to pick up your behavior or they have to discard that behavior. So, that decision making techniques should be informed to the children through various means and modes. Experiential learning, project based learning, and peer to peer interactions works wonders in imparting the right kind of education. I've seen a lot of success coming out of people when they make a commitment to dedicate their spare time in their pursuits of learning instead of vegging it out in front of the television and wasting the time. Now, I'm the biggest example of this. Webinars or coming on a computer, or organizing these group discussions were not a part of my routine. But pandemic happened. Under compelling circumstances, I was confined to the four walls of the house. I haven't stepped out for a single time. So I utilized this period in learning, in honing my skills in the areas where I found it was absolutely important and necessary. I've interacted with my peers in webinars and gained the kind of Perfection and knowledge. Probably my first webinar was not as good as the second, and maybe the forthcoming webinars come out to be far better because I'm working on it, trying to learn and to hone my skills. Earlier, we used to do seminars, now, webinars. So, I think this is my own personal example. Teamwork and collaboration are the skills acquired which can go a long way. When I do a webinar, I try to take opinion of my teachers, of my family as to what you think about this. I like to incorporate their ideas also into this, into what I talk, and I think it makes an impact. When I say knowledge and skills go hand in hand, but skills over knowledge, attitude over knowledge is what I feel is can go a long way. I also like to mention here about the finishing schools. I'm sure all of you must have heard of finishing schools for boys and for girls. Finishing schools that focus on teaching social graces and cultural rights as a preparation for entry into a society or a corporate world. It generally consists of an extensive course of 1 year with classes primarily on individual etiquette and good behavior in order to prepare a person for future and adult life. Princess Diana also joined one such finishing school. No one can underestimate or doubt her grace. Now, from there, I took certain ideas and I realized how important these finishing schools were. During the lockdown, also, every Sunday, we are trying to send videos of, not we are trying, actually, we are sending videos, and my teacher Nena is making those videos, and beautifully, I mean, she's doing it. I give her ideas and she puts them into shape. And I think they work as a finishing school because she's teaching them table manners, she's teaching them etiquette, she's teaching them behavior. She's covering all aspects of attitudes and skills that should have been learned in a face to face classroom. I'm happy that now we are giving more importance to these areas as previously we used to do. Previously all these things were quite ignored and people were compelled to go to finishing schools, but in the present scenario, I think the brick mortar schools that we are working in are doing a good job, really doing a good job. uh, I'll share an example with you here. I was sitting with a very elite woman, and she's on various platforms, extremely elite woman. And when I saw her eating food and holding the glass in hand, the plate was messed up. The glass had stains of the food that she was eating, and it was a bad, disgusting feeling. I couldn't eat. The answer is very clear. No matter how qualified you are, if you're not polished, you don't make an impression, you don't make a positive impact. So, I think those things are very, very important to become a part of the education that we are imparting. We would not like to befriend a person who is judgmental, selfish, honest, dishonest, rude, and has no respect for relationships. I think no one of us would like to befriend one such person. So these are the skills, these are the habits, these are the attitudes that one needs to focus and integrate with education. The choice of the lessons should be such, the choice of the morning warming up sessions should be such that we ensure that our students keep away from selfishness, dishonesty, and become better human beings. I think more than teaching math, science, geometry, teaching of virtues is actually very important. And that should be, I think, a very important part of the education that schools are imparting. These days, personal interactions or interviews, in during the interviews, uh, it is seen that many a times the report cards and the high grades don't matter as much as the life skills and etiquettes do. I wouldn't like to appoint a A plus teacher if the teacher doesn't have a good conduct. So work and conduct make a fantastic combination. I wouldn't like to appoint a teacher in my team who doesn't have the required behavior or the manners to come and sit the way he or she walks, the way he or she talks, has to be extremely polished. So, there again, grades take a backseat, skills over grades is what at least I look forward to. Thankfully, the government of India also is now convinced that social skills to learn at school level can be useful and often great at making a well rounded person with a better market value. Because if we are just teaching subjects and not polishing or removing the rough edges from a person's personality, I think we are not doing good to that particular child because his market value doesn't doesn't increase and he doesn't get a good price for his worth. I think the point is very, very clear. We need to chisel the rough edges in a person and ensure that the diamond within him comes out really sparkling and shining. And that is the role of education, according to me. Subjects which were earlier considered as extracurricular and co curricular are now a part of the mainstream education in schools. After all, who wouldn't like to play a guitar? We go to parties. I know it's only for um food and merriment, but then all of a sudden, a request comes up. Oh, someone who knows how to play a guitar, someone who can be comparing this particular program, someone who can fix a car, someone who can dance well on the floor. There comes what you have learned at school, and that makes you stand out as a personality which is different from the remaining. So, all these skills, cooking a sumptuous meal, how to grow a lush garden, I think all these things are coming very handy these days. Staying physically fit and to be able to protect yourself with the martial arts is another quality I think education should impart. There is far more focus on holistic development, I would say, nowadays than ever before. I'm not an expert on home repairs, but during this pandemic, I've seen a couple of things, and I would argue that most people should be learning the basic skills of housekeeping. That is, keeping their home in a tip top shape. There are families whom you would like to visit, but you can't think of having even a glass of water there because they lack those hygienic skills. One of the best reasons to learn how to do basic home repairs is also a skill. Because if you call someone to repair your fan, maybe a table fan, it may be sometimes incredibly expensive and time consuming. And in times like this today, probably you don't have people to come. So you should be able to repair a television, repair a table fan. There are several resources online also to help you walk through these basic home repairs. I'm sure all of you are aware of the DIY projects, that is, the do it yourself projects, The other day, I was very surprised and amused when I saw my son, who doesn't pick up his plate also many a times, repairing the fan, repairing the washing machine. Yes, he's done it all this time. And the other day, I was telling my children, let me cut your hair because I can't call a barber to the house. So everything is available. It's only about learning it from the right sources and honing your skills. These days, so many things are available, I think, in the internet. All these things are possible if you acquire the basic knowledge of damage control. Sometimes, yes, things get damaged. My teacher who stays on the second floor, she's listening to me, Shrankla. She called me yesterday, ma'am, it's really, really very hot here. How do I manage? So I said, don't worry, even if the technicians can't come, I think the carpenter and my office boys can manage. How do now they manage? Because everything is available online. With little expertise, I think you can manage most of it. That too is a much needed skill, I think, this damage control. Best out of waste activities taught in school come handy so many times. I think children are doing a fantastic job these days. They're making such creative things that can be used so well. The other day, a student of mine, out of all the waste that was lying, he innovated a touchless doorbell, and he's been all over the media. It was just an out of box thinking, because all the stuff that he used to make that doorbell was available in every single house of India. But only this boy, Sarthak, thought out of the box and he innovated a touchless doorbell. See, I mean, what an innovation. So, this is again a skill to think out of the box. Now, another strong feeling of mine is that when it comes to developing character strength, inner security, and unique personal and interpersonal talents and skills in a child, no institution can or will ever compare with or effectively substitute for the home's potential, the house, the home, where a child spends his life. The child gets all the potential, the positive or the negative influence initially from the home. And in those foundation years, whatever the child learns kind of stays long for them. I therefore insist that focus on skill development should start from a very, very early age. Even a toddler should be treated like an adult and therefore be given an environment where the child is given positive reinforcement and confidence and made to feel worthwhile. An individual who lacks confidence and positivity will be treated as a liability wherever he goes, even in the family. We live in an era of constant change. The more I look at the distinguished traits of people who are advancing in their careers, the more convinced I am that soft skills are more important today than ever before. It's no longer enough to be an expert in the field of knowledge in a particular subject. Competition is fierce. You must possess positive personal attributes and competencies that improve your relationships with friends, teachers, parents, and everyone you come across. Please keep in mind no one is perfect, not even you. Every person can utilize and make the best of it if you include in your personality the abilities to listen well. Most of the time we are not good listeners, so I think we mess up the entire conversation happening and the result comes negative. So I mean, have the ability to listen well, to communicate effectively. Many a times you keep it in your heart, you don't speak it out. how will the other person know what you want and what you are thinking? So, the effective communication, as I already mentioned before earlier in the beginning of the webinar, I think that's one most important skill that we all need to master. I'll share this personal example with you. How to be positive and how to accept responsibility and how to handle conflict, that these three or four skills that I'm mentioning here, how they saved my life once outside my school. There was a big conflict coming with the resident welfare association. They had some fight with the driver, and the entire locality ganged up against the school that we will not allow buses to come out of this lane. I'm sure most of you must be having trouble in some or the other way in handling all these things. So, uh, the teachers I sent inside the school to take care of the students because it was early morning, and I was alone standing there with close to 500 members of the Resident Welfare Association. My teachers were scared. I sent the vice principal to the police headquarters. I sent my superintendent, the office in charge, inside the school for some important work that needed to be done, to handle that. So at that given point, I was alone standing with those close to 600 people. So now, how did I handle that conflict? I accepted responsibility. I stood there. I did not leave that place because I am a leader. I thought to myself for a second, things are going out of control. But then again, the skills that probably my parents taught me, that you cannot change the world, you cannot control the world, but you can certainly control your own emotions, your own behavior. And no matter what they said, no matter what they thought, no matter how they reacted, I did not respond. So, if you do not respond to any negative behavior, you don't give power to that behavior, you kind of make it powerless. And ultimately, without any fight, I could handle that control. Again, I mentioned against 600 people, it could be more. With the skills that probably I learned and I mastered over a period of time, I think I handled the situation pretty well. Building trust is another skill that we must teach in school. Managing time effectively is one thing the parents and the school must emphasize. I think action must be taken against the latecomers, because in school probably they can escape, you can do away with it, but when they go for a job or they start business, time management will be something extremely important on the list. Working well with others is, of course, team building, and that is what a brick and mortar school is for. We are doing a very, very good job these days by online teachings, online subjects, online classes, but the teamwork is somewhere getting neglected because, again, I will say, we all learn the best when we are in a team, when we are with our colleagues, when we are with the peers. So, teamwork is extremely important. Another very important skill I would mention here is that people don't accept criticism. I mean, the body language changes. Please, 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 if you want to be successful in life, accept criticism. After every event, after every program, after every seminar, I always go and ask my teachers, please don't improve in the next program. Today, say for example, if I have 10 qualities, and if you tell me I lack this quality, and I adopt that quality, tomorrow I can say I have 11 qualities. So every single day, my request to everyone is, Write down your strengths and your weaknesses, and ensure that in your me time you ponder over it, and your strengths every day must go up and the weaknesses every day must go down. So accepting criticism is a very, 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 very important skill that I would emphasize on. Not just, in school life, maybe in your other relationships, everywhere. Confidence building, criticism, I think these are two areas where you really need to focus if you don't want to fail. Many people cannot work under pressure, so that skill also has to be taught. Very quickly, I'm touching all the skills with little examples. You've got to be likable. For being likable, again, that's a skill. For being likable, you have to be presentable, you have to be neat, clean, hygienic, with proper manners, with proper etiquettes, with those soft skills that are required, with the good behavior, with the trying to help others, and demonstrating good manners. I think mm, these are very important. And when I say problem solving technique is a very, very important skill, I would say that every day life gives you a new exam. In a school, in a family, the little children are very, very protected, but that will not be all the life. That will not be throughout the life. Someday you will be thrown into a larger world, and you will be exposed to many unkind things. Life doesn't give warnings, things just happen. Your abilities and skills that I just mentioned a little before, uh, I I would say they can. Rather, I repeat, can pull you out of the grave situations. Kids learn faster when we do things with them in the fun stuff, and that learning remains forever. My 3-year-old granddaughter, she's a doll. She's treated like an adult in my house. So, my request to everyone is treat the children like adults in the house. That again gives a lot of confidence, and that confidence building is again a skill that parents will have to translate in the children by the way you treat them. Now, this little girl, 3-year-old girl, she is allowed to make her pasta, and I think in a small electric cooker, of course, under supervision, for she makes her own dinner. She is trained to make a lemonade, and she can explain you the recipe also. This is what I called experiential learning. And this learning, which is happening at this tender age, in this foundation age, is probably likely to stay with her forever. So, teachers, when you get those 3-year-olds in your class, please don't treat them as little insane children or maybe little unaware children that they don't understand. Even if they are involved in playing, in writing, or even while sleeping, in their subconscious mind, they are catching it all, gathering it, and absorbing it all, maybe to replay to us in a very, very unkind way. So, whatever impressions they should learn from us have to be extremely positive. Now, the question here comes, at what age should skills ideally begin for students? As much as we have evidences that it begins from the womb, we have the example of Abhimanyu learning about the Chakravyuh in the womb. But ideally, skill development should begin from kindergarten. I personally feel, because I am experiencing that with my granddaughter. Earlier, we used to say it should begin at 7 years of age, but now I think, with my personal experience, I can say 2 years, 3 years. I think skill development should start. Observe the child, see what the child enjoys doing, and try to bring that into a child's routine. Let the child master that, and that is what I call educating a child in that particular skill. Now, this can happen right from primary. Integration of skill development and education is essential for skilling to take wings. From K to 12, development of age appropriate skills should be integrated. Beginning with tying the shoes. Yes, in our school we also let the children make their own curd. They bring those little small pots of milk, and we teach them how to make curd. Making a game or making a puzzle. I think these days I'm teaching my granddaughter the map of India, because I got that map of India in a puzzle form, and I think she is slowly learning how to make the map of India, and moving then to more complex skills as the children grow. Honorable Modi ji in 2015, yes, launched the Skill India mission and said he wanted to make India the skill capital of the world. For that, the school curriculum will have to go through a dynamic change. Integration of skilling with education should be the priority of the government, the top priority of the government. The aim is to impart skill training to approximately 400 million people by 2022 through Pradhan Mantri Protsahan Yojana. However, more than 25 million people have been given this skill training so far under various government schemes. I believe work is being done under the National Apprenticeship Promotion Schemes also. Please understand, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Please understand that children today will be different. They need to learn different things from what we learned in our times, because they are born in a different time. Now, our grandfathers, if they feel that our grandchildren learn the same way as they did, I think that's not possible, and that shouldn't be the case, because it's going to be no more survival of the fittest or the quickest, but survival of the most adaptable to change. See, each one of us is changing now. I think pandemic came all of a sudden. We were not used to this online teaching, and how beautifully we are doing it, because we have the capacity to adapt to change. Focus must shift from education happening in regional languages. The other day, I was reading about national education policy, and I was discussing with a friend of mine, Dr. Pandey, and he told me that regional languages education is happening. I think that's not correct. I agree word by word, because uh, now is the need for learning the languages that open windows to the world. And English language is a very, very important language. Computer education is extremely important for everyone to make a place anywhere in this planet. Yes, of course, regional languages should come, but focus should be, if priority has to be given, it has to be given on English language and computer education. Every person, every individual has to be computer literate, and that is where the digital India thing is really, really picking up and doing good work. Now I will refer to Modi ji's speech yesterday. The Twitter was flooded with memes and comments because Modi ji spoke in Hindi and he used those extremely lofty and heavy words in Hindi. Now, India has so many languages. The only common language amongst all is English. Unfortunately, yes, I will say unfortunately, the youth of India doesn't understand the difficult words of Hindi as much as they understand slangs of English. But yes, that's the situation, and we cannot do away with it because English is certainly a passport to the world. It's high time to sharpen the axe. Skill based learning focuses on increasing employability and to equip students with appropriate hands on skills which help them to do a job and be job ready. Stay in training. I feel we must all stay in training. What we learned for the teachers, particularly for the mothers, what we learned when we were young, what we learned probably 20 years, 15 years ago, does not hold water today. It will not benefit today. The style is changing. So the onus is on the teachers to adapt to that change and start using the new ways, the adequate recent ways of teaching. I would say a doctor who was trained 20 years back will not be able to operate, as he will not be able to recognize most of the machines in the operation theater. Same goes for a pilot. Therefore, it is important to not just acquire the skills, but keep working on them and improving them from time to time. I think teachers get a very, very clear hint. Earlier, it used to be A, B, C, D. Now it is banned. It's banned. You're not supposed to teach language this way. You must practice, you must integrate subjects, you must work because theories don't work. You have to keep practicing. Trust me, universe has no favorites. So just simply saying I am into the job, I got trained for it and now I will do it for the rest of my life. Sorry, it will not work. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you work on multiplies. Same goes for your skills, same goes for your attitude, same goes for your knowledge. Positive or negative, good or bad, right or wrong. Whatever you're going to focus on will multiply. So, my request to everyone out here, focus and practice good skills, good behavior, good attitude. Now, I quote Sadhguru here, who's been asked to contribute in writing the national education policy, in redrafting it. According to Sadhguru, in the name of uniform education, we are doing wrong. The education system in India was designed by the Britishers to create clerks for Her Majesty. They had a different reason then. Needs of people and communities differ today. If we do not provide need based education, we will not be able to create a variety of human beings for the welfare of society. We need craftsmen and farmers as much as we need doctors and engineers. Right now, our education system is oriented only towards the elite. Everybody is expected to go to the university. Ask a parent, ask a teacher. Teachers will always say, do this so that you can do this, so that you can become a doctor, you're an engineer. Parents will say that. This is not the right kind of education. We must now have specialized focus. When British went from India, it was only 7% literacy. We were at that time grappling with making everyone to write their names. Angutha chapte the pehle. I mean, writing a name, teaching them to write a name was a task. But that was the focus. Now, after so many years, if we don't focus on specialization from an early age, we will have a mass of educated people for sure, but there will be no education. I repeat, a mass of educated people without much education. In the present education system, mugging up from textbooks and puking it in exams is considered excellence, particularly at school and college level. In future, schools must devote 50% of the time on academics and rest on sports, dance, music, and a variety of things. No doubt, it all needs infrastructure and training, and training in capitals. Training both at home, mindsets must change in home and at school. It may take little time, but intentions have come. At least I see the government getting serious on that account. Skill based education, vocational education is the need of the times. Framing it in, in simple words, I would say that gone are the days when we should produce only doctors, engineers, IT experts. These days, we've realized more than anything else, we need food. I think we've all stopped spending in the past couple of days of the lockdown. So, what has come to my mind, and I resonate with what Sadhguru says, that farming is the most important, yet the most neglected enterprise. I will repeat again that I have inculcated a habit of farming in the smallest possible ways in most of my staff members. The other day, my girls called me up. They were showing me how they'd grown chilies and tomatoes, and I'm personally doing it at home in small tubs, in small pots. I think you can all do it. So what our children need to learn now is farming. And at school level, many classes now, in my school particularly, many classes now, I've told the coordinators, and they're already on the job doing it, that every child is taught to grow their own food. It could be just one single food item, but at least they know what is soil, what is the kind of temperature needed, what is the seed required, and so much alike. If all these continues, we will be able to grow food in the country. You may be technical, you may be having hundreds of degrees, but if you cannot grow your own crop in the field, I think there are chances one day you can die hungry. Farming is not for the illiterates, my dear friends. Please make it clear. It is considered to be for the illiterates, but it is actually not. It's quite a complex and scientific task. It's actually very meticulous. Just because a farmer doesn't have a formal education doesn't mean he doesn't know anything. He's doing something very vital because of what we are all eating. Prime Minister also, you must have seen, he's focusing so much, emphasizing so much on farming. I was discussing with my daughter in law, and I said, I don't know why people don't want to get into all these things, why people don't want to become plumbers, electricians. And she says, Mama, the only reason children are not getting into this is because of lack of money in the professions, because of lack of honor and dignity attached to this enterprise. I then explained her how when we went to Iran, we hired a taxi, and the taxi was supposed to be with us for the next 5 days. The taxi driver used to sit with us in the five-star hotel on our table and eat the meal. Even if it was a business meeting going on, he had to be sitting on that table to eat the meal, because that was the style, that was the rule. So there was money, prestige, and honor attached to the post of driver, and the driver enjoyed the same privileges and honor as the businessman sitting on the table did. Probably he was not just contributing to the conversation. Plumbers, carpenters, painters, if they hone their skills and we educate them with all the required soft skills, good behavior, mannerism, etiquette, communication, all these skills, they can do it in a big way and become contractors. And I think contractors, they are doing big jobs. They are doing jobs. If a house is being made, I think a contractor is given somewhere 50, 60, 70 lakhs he's earning out of that. So what's the harm? I think education needs to look into those aspects. Just a couple of months back, I was reading there were 10 vacancies for clerks, and more than 1 lakh applications had gone into that. The graduates and postgrads were frustrated and jobless because look at the ratio, 10 lakh application and just 10 vacancies. But let me tell you, a skilled carpenter, a skilled painter, a skilled artist, a skilled carpenter will find a job and be able to feed his family no matter where he goes. These days, there are so many competitions on television. Look at the Master Chef competition, the Dance India Dance, singing competitions. India has got talents. But then, with these, I think soft skills also come in the way. A raw person is picked up from a village and put on the stage, but a lot of training goes into it to teach that person how to perform with dignity. Talk about a chef, like I said, a master chef competition. A chef in the hotel is expected to stay fit, look nice, have good communication skills, and talk to the clients. A chef must possess good etiquettes and body language, must be humble, and he must take criticism kindly, because many a times it happens. We go to the hotels and we say, this dish is not good, and the chef is called. We criticize the dish, but the chef says, sorry, sir, I'll get another one for you. I'll be happy to make another one for you. The criticism is taken very kindly, and there is where the growth lies. If you're not prepared for this, be prepared and understand that getting a job is easy, but it's very difficult to sustain a job or sustain a business. In the absence of these qualities, you may not be able to survive or be successful. Excellence in work and conduct are equally important. And if I prioritize it, excellence in conduct is more important than excellence at work. Skill is not some activity that we learn and forget over time, it's an experience. Intellect and passion acting in unison. Knowledge is not a skill. Skill development in India is quite a challenging task considering the population which is deprived of facilities to work on their skills. I'll share an example very fast. I think we are running out of time. Narinder Chanchal, he is a relative. He came from not a very privileged background, from childhood only. He had the skill, he had the talent, and he did not have any instruments. So he used every door, every table, and started playing music. And look where he ended. Because he honed his skills, God was kind. Look at Ranu Mandal, the beggar lady, who became a superstar because she kept her honing her skills on the railway platforms where she was singing while begging, and that became her talent. Trust me, not everyone is made for academics, and those who are not made for academics suffer like hell. Only some find joy in academics. Those who are not designed must do some other skill where their aptitude lies. And this must start and happen between the age of 10 and 15. A winner is someone who recognizes his God given talents, works his tail off to develop them into skills, and uses his skills to accomplish his goals. Our astronomy club is being mentored by Aryan, a renowned astronomer whose success story started when he was 13 years of age. His interest in heavenly bodies diverged him to find an asteroid. This encouragement made him chisel his skill sets, and finally, he became a much sought out astronomer. Today, institutions and organizations eagerly wait for him to take lessons. He is a live example of how your skills, with a blend of interest and inclination, take you places. Imagine if I had skills to fly a plane, but I did not acquire knowledge. Do you think it would work? Now, this is the flip side of it. No, never. If a student opts for motor repair as a skill development course while in school, at a later stage he can opt for a diploma or a degree in automobile engineering. So, skills and knowledge only make excellence. Introduction to skill training at a young age will by all means give a child an opportunity to explore options and accordingly narrow down on a vocation of his or her choice. There are many instances where a student is pushed into a particular field due to parent or peer pressure, only to realize at a later stage in life that this was not the passion and calling in life, and the child has to start from all over again. There was a student of mine who came to me after leaving 10 years of school, and he wanted to take his physics exam. This was long after leaving school because he realized he wanted to be a pilot, and his parents did not allow him to study physics because they thought he can do well at it, and physics was mandatory. See how he had to start all over from a scratch. So, my dear friends, please appreciate that skills are never taught, they are acquired. I can give you a camera, but I can't feed your vision. We all have skills, and I guess we need the knowledge. And this combination works wonders to create an excellent individual. In the new education policy 2020, yes. Professional education has become an integral part of higher education system. This in itself speaks volumes of the importance of integration of education with skill development. In the wake of corona pandemic, education sector has been revolutionized, and these testing times have also identified the sectors that need revival now. For example, I've already mentioned farming, tailoring, carpentry, etc. The need is to integrate the skills with the school education. Schools have also considered the introduction of skill based subjects like artificial intelligence, beauty and wellness, design thinking, financial literacy, handicrafts, IT, travel and tourism, etc. Atal Innovation Mission has given lot of exposure to integrate science in day-to-day activities, right from a touchless doorbell that I mentioned to drones for welfare activities. ATL has become quite engaging for students in school. The sole purpose is to ensure that curricular and co curricular activities are streamlined with the aim of achieving holistic development of the students. It's hoped that academia will realize how crucial it is to integrate skill development with education so that India can reap the benefits of its young demography. Finally, I firmly believe that India is a country blessed by gods with enormous entrepreneurial skills. We need to have skills and sharpen those skills, to strengthen those skills, right skills for a meaningful life is to transform problems into happiness. Last but not the least, a big shout out for Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. We must all contribute in a big or small way. I had lots to talk more on this topic, telling you that it's my favorite topic and I can endlessly go on and on. But because of paucity of time, I need to wrap up. With these notes, I once again request you with folded hands to contribute in your big or small way in the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. Thank you very much, my friends. Jai Hind. And now I would be happy to take questions, if any. Yes, uh, I am aware of the skill development programs, Mr. Anurag Gulati. Uh, there are many skill development programs. If I start telling you about them, I think it's going to take too long here. But yes, I can just mention very quickly a few. And uh, the standardized training delivery by NSDC training partners, and there are the Skill Council is doing some good training programs. You can reach out to me on my personal email ID, drop a mail, and I shall give you a list of all these training programs. My email ID is Alka Kapur 23, Alka Kapur 23 at gmail.com, and drop in a mail and I shall be happy to send you a list of everything. Uh, Thank you very much. And any other question that I think we can wrap it up. Wrap it up. I will go through the questions and get back to you, because I think we've already exceeded the desired time. With these notes, thank you very much. God bless each one of you. Keep doing good work and keep working hard on getting new innovations and new techniques to blend skills with education at school level. Thank you very much. God bless all of you. Stay safe, stay healthy.